will be an interesting one, I think. Live coding and live AI. So we'll see what happens. It's also Alon's first proper conference talk, so let's give him a big round of applause. Welcome in on stage. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Alon. I'm going to give a talk about hamsters. No, but really I'm going to talk about AI, writing code with AI, building agentic systems with AI through Tomster, and he's going to help us out. So it's not actually me, but this is what AI made of me, my wife, our daughter, and my dog. I am a prompt engineer, not really. I have 10 years of experience building Ember apps, happily married, like you saw in the image. I love Ember, and recently I've been loving AI. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about agentic AI and how it sometimes feels like black magic, and you just tell it what to do, and it does it. You don't really know why. And it's a little bit of both magic and also not magic. So when we talk about AI, we don't really know what's going on in the LLM all the time. But when we talk about agentic AI, it means it's using tools, it's calling other agents, it has human in the loop to answer questions. And that part is not magic, because somebody needs to write it. We teach AI what we want, and it figures out the things along the way. And as models improve, the things we let it figure out will be bigger and bigger, and we will have to do less hand-holding. And we're going to talk about why this works well with Ember. And then we're going to have like an aha moment. And yeah, you can see here, Tomster is controlling the AI overlords. So what is agentic AI? It's when you connect an LLM to tools to do things for you. And we see this as programmers, we see this with things like Claude or Codex or Copilot, where you tell it to do something and it does it for you. It uses tool calls to do that for you. But there's also agents that you can write and you can use in other parts of workflows. There are people outside of programmers that use agents. And it's really teaching LLMs through their prompts how to use tools. And LLMs are really good at that because they are trained on structured data. They understand JSON, they understand XML. And it's the orchestration of all of these different tool calls together that make it feel like magic. So we teach agents, and by teaching, what I'm meaning is we write prompts for them. We tell them, if you get this thing, you do this thing, and then you tell me about it, and then maybe you ask me questions. So they translate intent into tool calls. Tool calls are structured. They are not random. You can use Zod schemas, which are very, very structured, to generate XML from them, which you will give the LLM the tools to call. You say, here is the tool for doing this. Here's how you call it with these parameters. Here's what you expect to come out of it. Here's when you should use it. And things just work out that way. And why does this work for Ember? Well, it does not work only for Ember, but Ember has really good conventions of you do this thing, you expect this. There aren't a lot of many ways to do the same thing. I know we have a lot of versions of Ember right now, but I was writing this talk, working with Polaris, with the latest and greatest, with Vite and all that, and it did everything very well. I might have had to give some documentation, copy-paste things, but all in all, it managed to write things pretty much the first time. And once you learn how to prompt AI correctly, it does things consistently and very well. And another part of an agentic system is validation. You can't just expect AI to get things right on the first time. It might say, you might ask it, okay, what's 1 + 1? It's going to say 3. And then it's going to go back and be like, oh, wait, that doesn't make sense. You know what? The answer is 2, which is a bit weird. That's not how humans think most of the time. But AI can't predict what it's going to say so much. Maybe it can do like 1 token or 2 in the future, so it looks back a lot. And that's how validation occurs. And you can also validate using tool calls. And right now, at least, there are some places where you still need humans in the loop. Let's say you're doing a bank transaction using AI. You probably don't want the AI to do things completely autonomously. You want a human to say, all right, I want to send this money to this bank account. Do you approve? And then you can say yes, no, do something else. And Ember has convention over configuration, which is really good for AI. I think it's just me rehashing things. By the way, I wrote this whole thing using AI, you can tell. So a lot of the images are AI. I prompted it to do things. This was my idea. Okay, so if people didn't see, I was sitting in the back on the floor working on this, like right before the talk. I was working on the slide here. There was a lot of stress up to here. It's been a struggle, but AI has really been helping out. I have my support hamster over here. And what could be better than a live demo using AI at the same time? So first, I'm going to show you our little to-do app, because to-do apps are quite simple. All right, let's see where we are. Okay, we have a talk idea, check. We got a name down, check. This I already did. You saw all the images. They're really great. Okay, this one we'll come back to. Let's see. All right, so let's see. Let's give it a whirl. Let's see if the AI thinks it's a good idea. Let's see. All right, give a to-do to start the talk. Make it funny and about Ember. Let's see what it does. You can see on the right side in the console, it's making tool calls. Okay, so it made a funny joke. I don't know how funny it is. That's the thing. I was telling a few people before, I'm going to write stuff, and I have no idea what's going to come back. Right? It's going to be, I have a vague idea, but it's going to be new every time. So that's funny. And you all laughed, so it works. And you can see here, I'm going to explain a bit what just happened. So we have an initial message that just starts up whenever I start up the app. I wrote something, and then I get back a response from the LLM, streaming, as you saw it, streaming, answering. It's rendering Markdown, so it looks nice. And you can see the tool call happening below with the parameters. So I passed in a text, and I passed in priority, even though I took it off from the app because it was too complex. So there's no, but it did try to say this was priority high. And okay, let's see, maybe, you know what? So I think this is, we don't need this. It's okay, I can do this without. I don't need to complete it, it's okay. So let's delete that one. Let's delete the to-do item mentioning. Well, that's weird. Okay, let's see. Just 1 second, guys. I'm trying to list the to-dos. Okay. Okay. I need to give the false presentation. I can't delete it. So what am I going to do? Okay, so I guess we have to do this live. We have to implement the tool call live to get it to work. Hope we succeed. Along the way, I'm going to show you how the tool calls work. And let's go. So first of all. This is the system prompt I am using for the current agent. As you can see, that's why it answered me. It's very important. Now, this is funny because still the most high-tech thing in prompting for LLMs is telling it things are important, or things are critical, or things are very super important and you can't ignore them. And you have to write them, if you'll notice, I have it again at the bottom, because you have to tell them these things all the time if you want to really follow it. Now, I explained your Agent Tomster, an AI assistant, you're helping me during a conference talk. It's good to explain what you want to do in plain terms, and the models are good enough that they will understand you. And don't try to downplay what you're doing. Maybe in the past you had to say, think like a teacher, and like make metaphors or things like that. Today you can explain what you need and they will figure it out. And if they don't, explain a bit more and they will figure it out. So I explain, this is a live demo, what can you do? And then these are the tool calls. And you'll see that these are in XML. They are generated from the .zod schema for each XML that I'll show in a second. And they explain what the LLM can call. So a few more things. Now, here I'll show a bit of the tool calls as well. So we have a list to dos item. I describe what it is. We have, this doesn't accept any arguments, so I don't need to pass anything in. And then it has an execute function that when the LLM calls it, this is what it does. So the actual code is something we wrote in code. The LLM does not use this code. Like, it doesn't run it. JavaScript runs it. But the LLM knows how to call it and how to get back the response, which is how the agent works both with code and with the LLM. We have create to do. This one accepts text and priority. And as we saw in the tool call before, it knows how to send that. And I have a done to do, which is supposed to mark to dos as complete. It actually does not work. And I did not have time to make it work. So maybe we can demo that it doesn't work. And let me see. Here's the original to-dos I had. I have some lint errors. Let me see. OK, enough for now. And now I want to add a new tool call. What do you want me to use, Codex or Claude code? Any thoughts? Nobody? Both? I'm going to use Codex for now. Let me see. Just to make things easier. OK. And now we can just watch it work, which has become my favorite pastime. Like, I tell my wife I'm programming, and there's like sitting there. And this is cool because now we can see the tool calls. I don't know if I should assume everybody's used something like this, like Codex or Claude Code or an agentic code assistant. But you can see in real time the tool calls that it's making. And it's kind of weird. I don't know why it's running sed for everything. What is it doing? It's let me down. I'm going to use Claude Code. Okay. And this is fun. It's like having your own Tomster to help you out. I think we're going to let it run for a bit. And I'm going to keep going with my talk while it works. So we started seeing the agent loop of how it works. You teach the agent what it's supposed to do. You give it a system prompt. You give it tools to call and it knows what they are supposed to do. It doesn't know what the contents are. And then you prompt the agent. So you say, agent, do this. It figures out, I have these tool calls. Do I need to call them? If so, I call them and get back a response. And the LLM doesn't need to do everything. I could have said, create to-dos for everything without tool calls, and it would have hallucinated a lot of things. It would have thought it's doing a good job because that's what it's built to do. It's built to succeed in creating the next token. But if you don't help it out, it's not going to do it. You have validation so that if it hallucinates something, it can get back to a good state. And when you have things like Zod in place with the schema, you reduce the amount of errors that happen. And I'm going to share these. I'm going to share more. A part of this is that I'm going to share this app that we built with the commit history, with commands inside, with how I've been using it, and showcase some real world use cases. So one thing I really enjoy about Claude Code is that it has slash commands, and they can be very simple. Like security review is very simple. It's just this one line, but it does what it's supposed to do. I use it on packages that I want to use. I use it during code review. And then I have a commit hook slash command. And this is the start of it. But I've been using it in this talk. Like while I was working on the talk, I would do slash commit. It figures out what I did, why I did it, creates a new commit for me. And have an agent builder command, which helps me build agents for things. So I was using this along with the system prompt to try to get it working. And if something's wrong, I say, agent builder, I did this, it's not working, and it helps me build it correctly. And it's agents and tools all the way down. So you can have agents, talking to tools, talking to agents. And I was recently working on a more complex system, which has agents and sub-agents and a task, and it can spawn multiple agents at the same time. This is all in the browser. And it was working really well. It took a lot of time to get it tuned. But once you connect things together and you have multiple agents and you teach them and you prompt them correctly, then it does feel like magic. Let me see, what else do I have here? Let's see if it managed to do something. Oh, I forgot to tell it. I forgot to let it go wild. So 1 second. I'll keep going with this. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up and then show if it worked. So we talked about, we showed that agents are orchestration systems and not magic, even though it sometimes feels like that. Tool calls and validation makes sure we have robust, reliable systems that can withstand different prompting from users and different use cases. And today, LLMs can handle reasoning, so they can think about what they're doing, and we can give them more and more autonomy as they get better. You can use existing frameworks that you already know with a bit more touch, and I really find it fun. LLMs have kind of invigorated and made me love programming again, even though I'm doing less programming, because it gives you the option to have more hats on, like a product hat, a designer hat, a program manager hat, and put it all together. And as I said, there's nothing here yet, but there will be. As you saw, as I told you, I wasn't able to get that yet. But now let's see if it managed to do something. Okay, so it says, perfect, I've done that. Let's see, delete to do, let's see if it works. Delete the, I don't know if it'll work, we'll see. And it worked. Great. Any questions? I don't know if we have time for that. We do.
A question.
Yes, he's going to give you a microphone.
Thanks. Hi. Thanks for the talk. Could you go to the code again, please?
The code?
Yeah, to the IDE. So the system prompt, this is generated as well, right? From those both tools, so from Codex and from Claude, right?
This is what? Can you say
This is generated as well. The system prompt .text. Is this generated as well?
Generated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I told it the first part and the tool calls can be generated. I generated them manually and stuck them in here, but they can be generated while you're working when you create new tools.
So when you prompted Claude with the update, then this got updated as well?
Yeah.
The new instruction that it allows deletion and also remove the import.
Yeah, here's the new one.
Yeah. Okay. So if you annotate this manually at the important stuff at the beginning, would it then contradict what Claude allows you to do?
No, I can explain like
Okay.
Like super important. Always be funny and hamster. I don't know. And then it's gonna do it, right?
Okay.
I don't know. This is how I test everything, and you see it's a hamster.
Squeaks in hamster. Yeah, that's great.
So you see, like I just changed one thing, and it already works.
Right. And a follow-up question. So when you have these instructions, so where you say super important, where you prevented the deletion earlier, could you also circumvent that in a way by being kind of smart when prompting? So to say, okay, I don't want to delete the entry, but I want a new project without this entry. Would it then generate it and override it kind of?
This is not smart prompting enough to defeat that.
Okay. Okay, so there's always ways to. So let's assume the dumbest possible user, they can still screw things up, right? Pretty easily, I guess.
Especially for this. This is a tiny prompt. It's not very robust. It works for this use case. But if this was a real production product, it would not look like this. It would not be one prompt. It would be multiple prompts. There'd be more tool calls. There'd be a lot more validation.
Right.
And the thing, this is so new, and people don't. Even the people high up at Anthropic or OpenAI, they don't understand enough about this. They talk about it themselves. We don't understand how LLMs work inside. Anthropic is working on figuring it out. I'm sure other people are as well. That's why it's a lot of trying out and
Yeah, thanks for the insights.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Did you see one? Okay.
Hi. So I know that LLMs can hallucinate if there are many tools provided to the agent. What do you think is the sweet spot per sub-agent for the number of tools? And then as well, do you maybe have some kind of mechanism to filter out the tools before LLM actually makes a choice?
Yes. So the way I've been doing it in something I'm working at my company is having multiple agents, sub-agents. There's one orchestrator agent, and let's say you need, like for the to-do, let's say you had a sub-agent for creating to-dos, a sub-agent for deleting to-dos, and the only tool that each one of them would have would be its own deletion tool, for example. And then the main agent does not need to know what the tools are. It needs to know that to delete, I use this sub-agent. And they have different prompts, they have different tools, they have different functionality they can do, and that way you can build much more robust system instead of having one system prompt with everything packed in it. That will definitely cause hallucinations. The context will be too much probably. Yeah, so that's why it's like a multi-agent systems allow you to have a lot of functionality depending on the use case. Kind of like tree shaking.
Hello, thanks for the talk. How do you prevent conflicts in prompt? Example, I wrote down below, super important, always be rude. And okay. And how will it act?
I don't know. I don't know. That's people don't know. It's just trying. Like we can try. Okay, do not be hamster.
Thank you.
Let me see. Are you hamster? Here, you see, I'm definitely not a hamster, but I am a hamster. So,
But can you prevent in that file that kind of conflict? If you put some kind of validation or something like that.
I don't know. Maybe there are systems to do it, but at the end, like looking at this, it is just text. You can put whatever you want in there or not in there, and hope that it works. That's why you need to have the rest of the part. The rest of the part of the architecture is validation, schemas. Like I could have some validation tool after this. Like I could tell it something, get a response, and instead of showing that directly, send that to a different agent saying, validate that this is correct before. And a lot of agentic systems do that. They have multi-steps where something makes something validates that, maybe something else validates it as well, until it gets to the customer. And that gives you much more production-ready systems. They are more expensive, though, because you have to have multiple calls. They're slower. But again, the models are getting better.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, yes. Okay.
What is your experience with, like, I guess, debugging the prompts? Because you say, like, oh, you have to try a bunch of stuff, but can it not, like, I imagine it can sort of feel like hurting a cat, because code does what you tell it to do. Whereas an LLM will sort of try to interpret your prompt.
Yeah. So I can explain about this. Up until a few hours ago, something was broken. It was showing, like, I was asking it to make a to-do. It was making 2 to-dos instead of 1. And I didn't want to check myself why it was happening, so I prompted Claude, like, hey, this has 2 to-dos. And it tried to fix it, didn't work. I tried to help it, it didn't work. I asked Codex, and Codex figured it out, like, in a few minutes. But that's the thing, you really have to try. A lot of the times I tell it, add debug console logs, and then I run it again, and I copy the full log into the AI and say, here it is. I don't even read it myself, but it figures things out. Like I can say, like copy this, go back here and say, why is this not a hamster? And then we can see, like, maybe it's going to find the system prompt tells it not to be hamster. So it is a lot of going back and forth and trying a lot of things. Here, see, it figured it out. So using it as a tool, because it is magic, but it's also not magic. And when you get down to figuring out how these systems work, you learn how to use them better.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? If not, huge round of applause for Alon. That was wonderful. Great first start. And you nailed the time. Really good.